Welcome to Love in the Love Boat, where we break down episodes of one of the greatest romantic comedy drama television series of all time. I'm Istvan, Chicagoland's beloved children's musician and TV fanatic.
And I'm Michelle, pop culture enthusiast.
So come aboard, we're expecting you to join us for another edition of
Love in the Love Boat.
Welcome you guys to episode 10. I am your host, Istvan.
And I'm Michelle.
And I don't know, for anybody who's listened to the show before, you might hear it in my voice. I am under the weather.
He's down with the sickness.
After 2 years of successfully avoiding you know what, I finally succumbed and stepped foot out of our home and immediately got it. And I'm on day 4. I am definitely improving, but I still am not 100%. But yet, we're doing what you're not supposed to do. We're setting foot on the boat. And we're setting sail anyway.
We are socially distant, though.
We are, actually. We are set up right now. I am in the bedroom, and I've run a very long cord out into the kitchen so Michelle can be there. We're trying to keep the other people safe in the house. But again, just proves our devotion to making sure that we have a show ready for you guys when it's supposed to come out. So we're glad you're with us. Again, we are in episode 10. Let's just get right to our storylines. First and foremost, we have Dear Beverly, written by the writing team of Ben Jolson and Art Bear. We also have The Strike, written by Mark Fink. And we have Special Delivery, written by Marion C. Freeman. Michelle, are you familiar with our guest stars?
Most of them.
All right, can you give some of those?
Sure. We have, in the Dear Beverly episode, you have Eva Gabor, one of your kin.
Yeah, fellow Hungarian.
kid.
This is a duel because there's the Hungarian and Italian dynamic on this cruise. This is my ethnic cruise. Yeah, for sure.
When do the Polish get a chance?
Soon, I'm sure.
And also she is co-starring with the wonderful Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, rocking Sansa slacks like crazy on this cruise.
He looked very handsome in this episode.
He was dashing.
He really was. He was well put together. And he always looked old.
Yeah, he kind of did.
He looked the same as when he was in Airplane.
He was 29 in this episode.
And when he was in The Golden Girls, because he did marry B. Arthur when she left the show.
Oh, please. Can we not deviate into The Golden Girls?
Sorry. There's always a tie-in, though.
Who else is on the cruise?
And there is also Al Molinaro, who you might know as Al from Happy Days. He plays Chef Antonio Borga
Yes.
in The Strike, which is, I think, probably the funniest storyline of the whole episode. And then in Special Delivery, you have Robert Urich as Jeff Smith, who you might know from Vegas.
Going as Bob Urich on this. They credit him as Bob.
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's Bob.
And I did some research. Vegas was running around the same time as this show. It was a short run, though, Vegas, unfortunately. And then an actress who I wasn't familiar with, Pamela Franklin, played Gail, his ex-wife or wife.
Yes. Now, Al, everybody knows him. He also was like Murray the Cop on The Odd Couple.
True.
He was Al from Happy Days. Very, very likable guy. But on this, he really got to spread his acting wings and play the role of a very haughty, sort of full of himself Italian chef.
Yeah, he's filling in for their regular chef, or maybe, what's her name? PJ. Because she left on
And
the list.
appendicitis, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that chef, but then PJ also left and married Gavin McLeod's dad.
Oh, man. Yeah, but the chef, he arrives with great fanfare.
Borga. Borga. Chef Borga.
Oh, Chef Borga. Well, welcome aboard. I'm your cruise director, Miss McCoy.
Miss McCoy.
Well, I'm sure, Chef, that you'll just have a very pleasant cruise here. We have a beautiful ship and a very cooperative crew.
And a jackass for a captain.
What did you say?
You said we have a jackass.
I heard what you said. Don't tell me I'm stuck with you for an entire cruise.
You're stuck. Ha! This peasant put ketchup on my bouillabaisse.
It didn't help.
You have the taste buds of a goat.
Before we sail, run out and get me a TV dinner. Make that plural, TV dinners.
And, as you can see, Meryl
I'm already liking their dynamic.
Yeah, they already have a contentious sort of previous relationship with one another.
Because Gavin McLeod put ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup. If you find ketchup funny, you are going to find this episode hilarious, I believe.
Yeah, again, here we are with like the running food joke through an entire episode.
They like to do that.
Yeah,
They do lean on that sometimes.
But I think their dynamic is pretty funny in this episode. Actually, the whole episode, this whole storyline is funny because Gopher gets a lot of fun jokes in as well.
Yeah, there are some really good ones.
A lot of zingers.
And some visual stuff that we can't necessarily share with you on this. But yeah, he's very, very funny as far as him giving the captain some grief.
But bottom line is they don't like each other.
Correct. And then shortly thereafter, we have this Pamela Franklin. She arrives, and she is
very pregnant and going on a cruise alone.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. Kind of strange. But she sets foot on the ship.
Can I help you? I'm Adam Brick, the ship's doctor.
Oh, thanks, but I'm fine. We're both fine. All we need is a place to lay our heads.
Well, I wasn't speaking medically, but if you'll give me your name, I'll give you your cabin number.
Oh, let's see, Gail Smith.
Smith, Gail Smith, that'll be P206 right up those stairs. I hope you and Mr. Smith have a pleasant trip.
Thanks, but there is no Mr. Smith. Well, if you get right down to it, there are probably thousands of Mr. Smiths, but there isn't one traveling with me.
Then I think all those Mr. Smiths are making a big mistake.
Not in the case of my Mr. Smith. I'm afraid it was me who made the mistake.
She actually comes on after her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband. Maybe they're not divorced yet. They are separated, let's just say. He's a travel agent, and he's on the cruise checking out the latest destinations, I guess. Everybody seems to know him. And he had an extramarital affair, and they have split up. And it turns out she found out she was pregnant after they split up and didn't tell him. Somehow they've ended up on the same cruise.
Yeah, it's one of those magical coincidences that seems to happen on the ship. You know, I found this one a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
As far as how they were separated from one another. I accept the coincidental nature of things, but
I have to let it go on these love boats.
On this episode, they do basically lay it all out for you because, Doc really does take this sort of nurturing, I don't know, like attention.
Yeah, guardian type.
Yeah,
role.
to her. He's just basically catering to her throughout the. I guess it would make sense, if you are the doctor, that you have this pregnant passenger. But as far as their dynamic, the husband and wife, at some point she confides in Doc very, very specifically as to her story.
Can I help?
Oh, don't.
Hey, it's okay.
I'm sorry. Being around me is like not having to take a shower.
It's okay. I'll save on soap. What happened in there?
Well, Jeff Smith is my husband's name. Except in 2 weeks from now, he'll be my ex-husband. Now, I thought that would make me very happy, but a funny thing happened on the way to the divorce. I found out I'm still in love with him.
How does a man divorce the lady who's carrying his child?
He doesn't know about it. You see, he walked out on me before I found out, and I'm not going to use the baby to try and get him back.
But surely he has the right to know.
Well, I tried to reach him. I was going to sort of sound him out and see if we... But a woman answered. He's living with somebody else.
Here, try this one. It's dry.
So let's get to the other third storyline, which is Dear Beverly with Eva Gabor. Her name is Beverly Blanchard, and her husband's name is Russ, Leslie Nielsen. She is an advice columnist, and she is on the cruise to give a lecture, but it's like a storyline of she can't separate her work from her personal life, so she's kind of neglecting her husband when he just wanted a nice little quiet vacation between the two of them, but she's constantly being bombarded by, I guess, fans, people that are noticing her, and they're constantly asking her for advice.
Yeah, like the old ladies that like are pulling the old Ruth Buzzy routine where they're always hitting men with their purses all the time because they think that the men are like rotten.
That one lady, I should have looked up her name. She's a famous like character actress. In fact, she was on a Brady Bunch, I recall.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know her name though. Mm-hmm. Did you notice Eva Gabor's makeup, her eye makeup, like that brown eye makeup? Like it went all the way up, like it was like crazy, like almost silent film eye makeup.
Very dramatic.
Oh my gosh, man. It was crazy. I noticed that on her. And then I noticed like her Hungarian sort of jewelry in the dining area. Like
she had a
like,
really cool necklace on.
Yeah, it was like red and green, which are, Hungarian colors. And it really was, it looked awesome to me. It looked great, But those are Hungarian colors. And I'm assuming that's why. Oh man, it was so cool. And the earrings match that. But she, the Gabor sisters, man, they had all kinds of flair.
Yes, she was good. I thought she did a great job at this role, like a strong, confident.
She was great. Yeah, she was awesome. They both were. They both played this really, really well. Oh, I was in contact with our previous guest, Stephen P. Slivka, and we both were saying that we would never have any problems with our wives taking us on a free cruise, where he was upset
I know
that he was going on this cruise and hadn't paid for it himself.
I'll take a free cruise anytime.
Yeah, anytime you want to be,
Hashtag Pacific Princess.
Yeah, but you need to also start another side hustle where you're some sort of advice columnist, and then all of a sudden you're invited onto a cruise for some reason. But yes, Leslie was upset.
Oh, no, come on, don't be so grouchy. Look at this lovely suite and this beautiful ship. Come on, let's enjoy it.
I'd enjoy it a lot more if I was paying for it. I don't enjoy freeloading on my wife's name.
Isn't this silly? Now, why shouldn't we take this free cruise? All I have to do is give a little lecture.
Because I can afford to pay for a vacation. Take you someplace where we could be alone with all of these people around. And you wouldn't have to do work either.
Oh, darling, it isn't work. I love it. And I love you.
The thing is, after this moment that they have in the cabin, then he did something. Now, I have brought up many a time how I've been concerned with the names of a lot of the male people, right? That they're names that you never hear in real life. But he says something that also I think I have never heard in my life, where he says to her that he wants to make mad, passionate love to her.
Well, there are, standards back in the...
Yeah, mad, passionate love. And then she says, I would like you to make mad, passionate love to me, but I have to type. Like, she had to type her column, so she shot him down, and then he takes his Sansbelt slacks out onto the deck and walks it off because, he got shot down in flames. And I think he was handling it pretty well for a period of time.
For a little bit, until he met that glamorous younger woman.
Yeah, it didn't take much, man.
No, like she was giving, like, kind of talking to a group of people, and he had brought her a drink, and didn't want it right then and there, so he walked away and immediately over to a really young, pretty single woman sitting by herself conveniently and handed her the drink.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to beat this to death, but his Sansbelt slacks were right at eye level with her because she was sitting on a deck chair, and then he walked right over, and he had like his polo shirt tucked into those pants. And
it was a neat tuck.
Yeah, and he had it looked like he was basically like a Sears model for pants, for slacks.
My high school, typing teacher, we used to wear those all the time, and he was also, I think, a football coach.
Oh, did all the girls fall in love with him?
No, he had a weird bowl haircut.
Oh, man. Well.
But I always remember he had tan Sansbelt.
Oh, my gosh. Well, he handed her the drink, and then
the magic happened.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
She knew he was married because she was watching the wife.
You don't care on the cruise.
No.
Marriage means nothing. You may as well just take your wedding ring and throw it into a basket.
It's the love boat. It doesn't matter what kind of love. You're just in love with everyone.
Yeah, and then those two are kind of like off forging some sort of quick romance.
Yeah, because if we want to jump ahead to the dinner.
Yes.
Then she ends up sitting next to Russ, Leslie Nielsen, while Eva Gabor is in conversation with Gavin McLeod, the captain. Then they're gone, and then they're making out.
Yeah, and the classic passionate embrace, both arms around each other. It was perfect.
In the open, though, because then Isaac is bringing a drink, drinks to somebody. And then he sees him.
Well, not totally in the open. It was kind of above that, and Isaac was walking up the stairs.
Above where on the last episode, the handyman came out of the dark shadows with a pipe.
Dude, Did you notice that
I
there's
did. I
a
know what
second?
you're gonna say.
Yeah, you can say it. Go
Urich
for
is
it.
smoking a pipe on the
second
deck.
pipe appearance. Because the thing is, Bob Urich and his pregnant wife, they keep just barely missing one another on the ship. Like, she'll be somewhere and then she leaves and then he comes strolling in with Julie.
And that was kind of strange too, because they were kind of kissing at the beginning.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then it wasn't going to work, and then they just went back to being friends again.
No, that's in the first moment. They are on the deck together, and you think that they are about to get together.
You ready for dinner?
Well, rather hang out in the moonlight with you.
Jeff, we've known each other a long time. How come all of a sudden?
Well, I guess I've been too busy messing up my life. First I lost out my marriage, and then I was living with someone for a while. That didn't work. Maybe this time I'll get lucky.
What is it, Jeff? Why do I feel like your heart isn't in this?
What are you talking about? You're a fantastic girl. I've always thought you were beautiful and sensitive. I think you're great.
This isn't gonna work, is it?
Nope.
Is it your wife?
Yep. Still hung up on Gail.
You know, what's weirder, though, is like after they realize that they're not meant for one another, they're still like walking around together, holding hands all over the ship.
Yeah.
Which is really strange. It's like
Hugging and holding hands.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because it's like, did you guys really decide not to be together, or like what's going on? Are you still maybe considering doing this?
And another thing I wanted to bring up when like talking about Isaac with the drinks before, do you think that they taped those drinks down to the trays? Because
I don't know.
Well, in the dinner scene back to the dinner scene with Eva Gabor and the captain, he wants a chocolate souffle made for her.
Yeah.
And then he asks Gopher to ask Chef Al
Right.
to make it, and he gets really angry about it, and he comes storming out.
Out of my kitchen.
Your kitchen is part of my ship, and I am requesting a chocolate souffle for dessert.
You want requests? Go talk to the band leader.
I don't have to take this from a short order cook.
Short order cook? Borga? I demand an apology.
Never.
I don't have an apology in writing in my hand by tomorrow. This is the last dinner I cook on the ship.
Call this dinner?
Out, or I make mincemeat out of you.
Where would you steal the recipe?
Well, my favorite background actor, that guy with the thick head of hair and a thick beard, he's always the waiter.
Yeah, like he looks like an adult film star from that era.
He looks like, or like my Ken doll from the
Or like
70s.
a G.I. Joe, like a full-on G.I. Joe.
Exactly what he looks like. Well, he comes out and he gets knocked into with 2 wine glasses, but they never tip.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question because I did notice that because that always still gives me anxiety when a drink is about to fall on one of those trays. And like he full on does bash the door into him. And yeah, I guess it didn't fall. Maybe you would imagine so, unless the guy's just like the most magical balancer of all time.
It's not a guy, because Gavin McLeod, if you recall, talks to him later.
Who?
Gavin McLeod talks to that chef or that waiter with the hair, and his name's Alvin.
Alvin?
Yes.
Hey, you know what else I noticed? The other dude, when the dude brings him something, he's like, thanks, Lance. The other, like, quick waiter's name was Lance, and I found it funny that they bothered to give the guy a name. He doesn't say.
Alvin finally has a name now, so when I see him in future episodes, I'll know it's Alvin.
Alvin?
With the hair and beard.
Alvin. And then Lance makes a quick appearance. You know, the thing is, they keep talking about ketchup all the time on this show, but Merrill has like this weird mean streak on this because he really is like sticking it to Chef Borga, and then like he does intentionally. He sees that he's watching him to eat like his leg of lamb or whatever he prepared. And then he asks to pass the ketchup, but the ketchup is in a fancy gravy boat. And I thought,
It was so elegant.
yeah, like if you are going to put ketchup on something, at least it's done with sort of like a fancy flair, you know? And then he just keeps heaping the ketchup on his leg of lamb.
Because he knows that Chef Antonio is watching him.
Right.
So he's just trying to make him
No,
angry.
as I said, he's got a mean streak, and he's kind of sticking
He does
it
in
to
other
him.
episodes too, but then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, between those two.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Part of this storyline then is that the chef wants him to apologize in the form of a written letter. I don't know why, so he can frame it, be buried with it. I have no idea
It's
why.
official then.
Okay. So he's demanding that he give an apology, and of course Meryl is very stubborn and he refuses to give an apology, which leads to sort of classic hijinks as far as like the whole crew then being in the kitchen at some
Oh
point.
yeah, because the chef goes on strike and takes everybody with him.
Yeah. And it's like Isaac was making soup with all booze. He was just pouring all kinds of booze into his
My
soup.
kind of soup.
Yeah, and then like the captain was like doing almost like a Lucy thing where he's like got all kinds of sticky dough and he's trying to
Like a crazy, his cap's all crazy.
yeah.
So then somehow they're making a food for 400 people.
No, 600.
Is
It's
that what they
always
said?
600.
I thought
yeah.
they said 400.
No, I think it's 6. That's what the chef said. That's why I had that number in my head when we were talking about PJ Muldoon.
He should have called up his dad and flown her right back in.
No way. He'd never hear the end of it. Like he has no control of his ship.
So after that debacle, the crew decides that they're going to write letters to each of them, forged letters apologizing, and then they give them to each other.
Yeah, to trick those guys. And it works. It basically works.
Yeah, so things just seemingly are going back to normal till Gavin McLeod, or the captain, thanks Chef Antonio for his letter, and then they realize that they were hoodwinked.
Yeah, two typically pig-headed men get furious with each other all over again. But like the previous episode, we see that Meryl comes to his senses and has the best interests of the ship in mind.
He's the captain after all.
Yes, and then he swallows his pride, no pun intended, because it's food-oriented, and he does apologize to Chef Borga.
All right. I apologize. Because of my line, because of my crew, because of my passengers.
Captain, you are a gentleman.
And because I happen to be the only captain afloat with dishpan hand.
And he accepts the apology as a gracious man. He's an artiste, so really he has a sensitive heart. So he accepts the apology and then starts cooking up a storm for this ship.
And eventually he makes the chocolate souffle.
Oh, that's right.
For her.
Yeah, he did get a souffle made for her.
And if we want to dive back into their storyline.
Wait.
Yeah.
I like that Captain's so starstruck by people. Like, he loved when, what was her name, who Isaac fell in love with. He was so excited that she was on the
Roxy
ship.
Blue.
Yeah, and then she's on the ship and he's all excited too.
The ladies. He likes the ladies.
He really does, like
celebrities.
celebrity ladies. He gets all super
the best.
starry-eyed. And he's so happy at the captain's table. He can't wait for them to be there.
He's the best captain.
He is great.
So
though, man.
proud.
His character's awesome. I love Meryl Stewart. All right, wait, I'm sorry. What were you saying, though?
Oh, I was just going to say back to the Dear Beverly storyline. You could say Dear Beverly's an advice columnist, but you could almost say that Isaac is as well, because he observant of everything. He literally knows what's up. He usually always calls the BS when other people may not see it. He always seems to see it. And maybe it is part of being a bartender, because you are getting to talk to everybody. People drink, they confide in you. So you kind of are this all-knowing person and this observant person of people. Mm-hmm. So he starts to talk to Gopher about what he has witnessed.
That was dear Beverly you were talking to. Yeah. Well, I really like her. Stick around. She may be available soon. Well, what's that supposed to mean? Last night, when I was on deck, I saw her husband giving kissing lessons to one of our lady passengers. You're kidding. And he's a good teacher. What about rotten creep? Now, wait a minute, Gopher. It's her own fault. I mean, she's been so busy with everybody else, she's been leaving him out in the cold.
Oh, gee, that's a shame. Maybe I ought to tell her.
But out. I mean, it's none of your business.
Yeah, but if I don't tell her, her marriage may go on the rocks. But if I do tell her, her marriage may go on the rocks. Maybe I should tell him.
He already knows.
Isaac, I don't know what to do.
Sounds like a problem for Dear Beverly.
Sounds more like Dear Beverly's problem.
Meanwhile, Leslie Nielsen, Russ, is just all over, I assume, with this woman on the ship, and they're just hanging out and going places and doing things. And then at one point, Eva Gabor is giving another lecture. This might be her main lecture because she's dressed up, to a bunch of people around the pool, and they're asking questions, and she's giving her advice. And then Gopher asks a question.
Yeah, this was cool. I thought this was cool, again, like TV writing, because he turns her job on her to get advice about the situation that she herself has created or is participating in. And Gopher cleverly asks her...
For a friend.
Yeah.
Yes, Gopher.
This isn't about me.
That's what they always say. Go on.
Well, this friend of mine, she's very witty and charming and gorgeous. But she's so wrapped up in her job that she never pays any attention to her husband. And now he's beginning to wander. And I don't want to hurt my friend, but how do I tell her?
Oh, well, don't bother. If she's so insensitive that she can't give the time of day to her husband, well, he's right to give the time of night to someone else.
Shortly after this, as this has happened, she looks up briefly. The husband is just sitting up there with this other woman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think my time is just about up. Thank you very much.
I guess maybe he wanted her to see, because then that way he's like crying for help. I don't know. I mean,
could be.
They're just sitting up top while she's giving the lecture, like flirting with each other.
Yeah, they're just like flaunting right in front of her face. I mean, it's not like they were hiding it or anything like that. So you could be right. Maybe that's why he was doing it, is just for her to finally notice him, because that's what was happening, is she was never really paying attention to him, and she was so engrossed in talking to people and, being her celebrity self, basically, which you could understand and would cause stress in a relationship with people.
Sure.
But he was being, pretty tolerant for most of the time. And, this lady made it real easy for him to, to kind of...
Inconvenient.
Yeah, stray away.
But she notices them, light bulb goes on, that's who Gopher was talking about, and she cuts her little lecture short. Next scene, Leslie Nielsen is coming back to the cabin.
Wait, what was his name on the ship?
Russ.
Russ. Say Russ.
Russ is coming back to the room. Looks like he's just coming to get something.
Condoms.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because he was like, sorry, I didn't
be
mean
back.
you were here. I'll be back or whatever. And then she's like typing on her typewriter in her negligee. And then she begins to tell him what she's doing.
Which also is kind of cute and clever,
She's an advice columnist, and she's giving her own self-advice.
Yeah, so she reads what he thinks is a column, but in reality is an apology.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I didn't know you were working. I'll be back later.
It's coming, darling. This is a special column I want you to hear.
Sure.
Dear readers, instead of you writing to me today, I am writing this letter to you. You won't be hearing from me for the next 2 weeks because I'll be going on a vacation with my husband. I don't know where he's going to take me, but I'm sure he'll pick a spot where the two of us can be blissfully and marvelously alone. You kept me very busy for a long time. But if I am too busy to spend some time with my husband, I might lose him, and nothing in the world would be worth that. Not fame, not fortune, not anything. Yours always, Mrs. Russell Blanchard.
And then, their true reconciliation is a little odd because he brings up the other woman by name and she's like, don't mention the name. Don't ever confess or something like that.
Yeah.
But she's a pretty cool lady. Like she accepts what had happened. She doesn't harbor any sort of like malice towards him. And she realizes what was at stake. And, that's a wonderful element of the ship where they truly do see the error of both of their ways. And they realize that they are important to one another. And she's going to take a whole 2 weeks off.
Nice.
And then she'll be back to business as usual. But he'll have 2 weeks, actually, to spend time with her.
They were a well put together couple.
They were a gorgeous couple.
Because
Are you kidding?
sometimes, like, outside of Jacqueline Smith and her husband, most of the couples are ill put together. A little oddballish. But these two looked really good together.
I was noticing, too, like, if you watch, like, some of the other people on the ship, that there is always, like, to me, it always looks like there's this wild age imbalance with, like, men being older than women. Like, the two people that got seated with Eva Gabor and Russ, like, I thought they were really doing weird overacting, but they actually did have speaking parts, and she looked all, like, upset. But it's because they wanted to be seated at a table, like we would. I would love to be seated with other people.
You love people.
Oh, my gosh. I would be furious
you love making conversation with people you don't know.
Had to sit with other people. Like, do you have a booth in the back so I don't have to talk to anybody?
They just eat in your room the whole time if you're on a cruise.
I'll be in my room. Would you do? Nothing. I just ate my shrimp cocktail by myself in my cabin. No, but they wanted to be seated with someone, and she seemed much younger than the husband, who was making the weirdest, like, facial expressions of all time. But it's just one of those minor things. Next to you noticing Alvin all the time on the ship.
I'm becoming obsessed with
shout
Alvin.
out to Stephen P. Slipka. In the beginning, they had some sweet B-roll where they were loading giant boxes of eggs onto the ship. Did you see how many eggs they were loading?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I don't know. It was like omelet festival.
A lot of omelet stations on the
Holy
cruise
cow.
ship, I guess.
Yeah, they had tons of eggs. All right, I think I'm fading. We need to wrap. I need to rest. I'm on what did I say? It already day 4.
30.
No, not 30. I'm on day 4 of this nonsense. I got to get this gone. So yeah, like that does sum up theirs. They really reconciled really nicely. And again, I thought, like, for TV sitcom writing, it was really kind of cool and clever. And she played it so well, like you said, as did he. You know what I mean? He's always solid in what he does. I thought it was a really interesting, fun, cool storyline, actually. So now, hang on. We have the ultra dramatic conclusion of Bob Urich and his estranged wife.
Pregnant estranged wife.
Yes. So as, like, Julie and Bob come strolling down hand in hand, but they're just platonic, like everyone does with their platonic friends.
Weren't they hugging? And Doc and the pregnant lady were coming down the stairs.
Hang on. This is the thing. Is, like, they're both
saying how much they love each other. And
yeah,
it was a
to different
mistake
people.
To split up. Yeah.
Like, she's saying it to Doc, and then this dude's saying it to Julie. But, like, they're walking down the deck, and then he's like telling Julie that, like, he loves his wife, he's committed to his wife, he's going to reach out to his wife, and she's like, oh, that's so wonderful, and then gives him a giant hug. But it's like the way that they're behaving with one another seems like it's more than just them being friends, so that's kind of weird.
Yes, so then Doc is coming down the stairs with his wife, and she sees him.
Yeah, finally.
And then immediately goes into labor.
It triggers her labor. Hey, I guess that would do it, though.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What is it?
Well, that's Jeff, and that must be her.
That's Julie McCoy, our cruise director.
Oh, Doc.
What?
I think the baby's coming.
Okay, put your arm around my neck. Everything's gonna be okay.
Jeff, what's wrong?
Gail! My God, why didn't you tell me? Would you excuse us, please? I'm her husband. And in just a little while, you're going to be more than a husband. You're going to be a father.
Honey,
Okay, hold on tight. I'm going to pick you up and carry you to my office. May I, Doctor, please? Okay, gently.
Honey, I love you. I don't know what happened to us, but it's not going to happen again.
Doc, how can I help?
Forget it. I saw you make a salad.
Honey.
But this leads to also one of the funniest things, I think, that's been on any of the episodes.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Take it away.
But it is first, it's really dramatic because it's like a close-up of Doc.
Where they all have total perspiration. Everyone has, like, such,
delivering the baby.
television
he has, like,
perspiration.
Full garb on. And then there's a nurse that I never knew he had a nurse.
Right.
So she's there assisting. And then Bob Urich's in there.
Yeah.
But then there's this, like, running joke of everybody keeps asking, has Doc ever delivered a baby? And is he really a doctor?
Hang on. Let them do it for you. Hang on, you guys.
Julie, listen. You sit. I'll pace.
Thanks.
What is taking so long?
Don't ask me. I've never had any babies.
Well, don't ask me. I've never had any babies either.
Has Doc ever delivered a baby before?
Listen. I've never made soup for 600 people before, but it turned out great.
I'll be the judge of that.
We have nothing to worry about. I'm sure Doc is doing a wonderful job.
Oh, I'm sure he is. I mean, that's one of the things that constantly amazes me about Doc, is that he's really a doctor. He is, isn't he? I mean, it's not a nickname, just...
Well, has my new passenger boarded?
Not yet, sir.
Well, what's taking so long? Has the doc delivered a baby before? He really is a doctor, isn't he?
And I thought that was the funniest thing because we've been giving Doc grief the entire time for how he behaves, and the fact that they really brought that to light and turned that into a joke.
Made me laugh.
Oh my gosh,
To
it
be
was so
honest.
funny. The way that they all were saying it. That, like, again, I think all these guys, Fred Grandy, he is so funny all the time.
Yes.
And Ted Lange is super, super funny in that too. They all are great, honestly. And then when the captain comes in too, and Isaac sits by him, the whole scene is just... It's really, really good. And it's, I don't know, it's like one of my favorite things I think we've seen so far, thus far, that whole scenario, because it's harnessed to like a dramatic moment where you would be super stressed out that you're delivering a baby on a ship.
Yeah, and then he successfully delivers the baby finally.
How many? What number of delivery was this for him?
2.
Yeah, you got it.
And then he said he had given us like a time frame that he, what did he say, finished medical school in 1962.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Did you write that down in your
I
journal?
did write it down in my notes. I'm gonna have to do some like age investigation. But there he delivers a baby. Of course, it's a boy. And then miraculously, though, then it's like the next day, and she's just willy-nilly walking off the ship with the baby wrapped in a blanket. Like, wouldn't you think like there would be an ambulance waiting to take them to a hospital? So
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, aren't you supposed to be on a wheel in a wheelchair or something?
Yeah, she should have been in
that?
like a wheelchair at least, and then I would think they would have to go to the hospital because yes, he delivered the baby, but he doesn't really have what you need after a baby is born.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can't just take it home. But then it was the 70s, so I guess anything goes.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are the things that I let slide.
I know I can't.
I don't really
have
know.
to.
Writing
Too many
emails to the...
I majored in radio, TV, and film, and I think my keen eye gets to me sometimes.
No, I don't know. They just, that was a funny way to end that, and also a dramatic way to end that storyline. And then, Leslie Nielsen and Eva Gabor, they just leave kind of a normal fashion. And then Chef Borga, he and Meryl have like one final moment with each other.
Hey, you're a great chef and you can sail with me anytime.
Oh, tante grazia. Thank you, and you are a fine captain.
Thank you. I want to tell you that chocolate souffle last night was the best I've ever tasted.
I thought you would like it. It's the first time I ever made it with ketchup. It's a little joke. Oh. You see, Chef Borka has a sense of humor, too.
Yes.
Goodbye, Merle.
Ciao, Antonio.
And he has a cool hat on.
Also, this is my second Stephen P. Slivka reference. The other element of our text exchange was he is going to start dressing like Chef Borga.
It's funny you say that because I was going to suggest that you do, but
No.
it's better if he does.
At first I was going to make a joke about it, and then I'm like, I can see that. Like,
Me too.
I really could see him dressing like that and like absolutely pulling it off and it making all the sense in the world.
Make it happen.
I swear I wish that he would. It would be so great. Like
Tilted
capes.
fedora.
Yeah, fedora. I can absolutely see that, I hope he starts working on that immediately, because I think he'd look awesome, and I think he needs to set that trend. And if
I think
anyone's
our listeners need to see a picture of that.
All right, now you guys, again, I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm trying to get through this and get better. We're gonna wrap up this cruise right now. But one of the things I'd like to point out, and Michelle, if you have anything else, by all means, we were supposed to be rocking some drinks right now, and I'm just not up for doing anything like that. But I did post on our Instagram, which is Lovin' the Love Boat, at Lovin' the Love Boat, the other side of the wonderful Ted Lange message that I got for my birthday. So the first one was him just wishing me a birthday, which we have on our Instagram Reels and on a post. And then I just posted the part where he offered us all, not knowing that we had talked about having drinks on the show, a drink called the Isaac. So he's giving me and all of you guys the recipe for it. So you can see him explaining how you can make it. And we're hoping you guys will do that. Have an Isaac yourself. It sounds great. And we're going to do it, maybe for the next show. But go and check that out for sure. And we are going to have more surprises that I think you guys are really going to like. And again, we are planning, Michelle and I are working to figure out how we're going to do our remote recording for guests. So shout out to the lovely Lauren Tews, to Renee, who hooked us up. She's our celebrity hookup with the wonderful birthday message from Isaac himself. And we have other people that we want on the show as well. And I promise you we're working on it, but things like, getting sick and all that kind of stuff steps in the way and kind of slows everything down. But we have plenty of episodes to cover, so there's all kinds of time.
Doesn't always get magically wrapped up like in the Love Boat.
That's so true. That's so true. So do you have anything else, Michelle?
I'm good.
All right, so thanks so much, you guys. Thanks for listening. If you guys have any requests or suggestions or drinks of your own that you want to share with us, by all means, message us through our Instagram. It's the best way to get a hold of us. Mm-hmm. So again, thanks for listening. Until next time, I am Istvan.
I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we're loving the Love Boat.